Sideline Report brought to you by the Times leader, Todd Griffin and Ty Englebright in studio this morning to talk about everything sports. It's the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station, WPKY, the Tiger. All right, and we are here. Good morning, Todd. It's
Good
the
morning.
Sideline Report. How are you, man?
Good. It's another big week.
Another big week, and of course, at the top of the list is
Football. It's playoff time in Kentucky, high school football, and you know the fall sports are kind of winding down. Some of them have wound down, but it's still a lot of football action going on in Caldwell County with home playoff games. We hope for several weeks to come. Hart County will come here this week, and the Tigers 8-2, Hart County 2-8. You would like to think, you know, maybe an easy week for the Tigers if they come out and play. It should be, but you know, a couple of years ago, Hart County came here, and I think the score after the first quarter was 7-7.
Right.
So you never know. And if you look at Hart County on film, they've got some kids that are capable. You know, the quarterback looks good. They got some receivers, but I'm not sure they're overall as good up front as some of the teams the Tigers have seen lately. Certainly not as good as a Mayfield or a Christian County or something like that. And if you look at the ratings, Hart County will be the lowest rated team the Tigers have seen this year. So I think they would be about a 10 or a 12-point underdog to Trigg County and Fort Campbell. So
right.
The biggest thing this week is for Caldwell County just not to completely overlook that team, to come out and execute Friday night. But I think the athleticism of the Tigers will be on display, and the Tigers will be a little bit too much for Hart County, who has to make a 2-hour trip here on top of that.
Right, and of course, because of that 2-hour trip, our kickoff time is a half hour later at 7:30.
Right. It's kind of an old school kickoff. You know, the kickoffs used to be at 7:30 a lot for the longest time, and of course, games got longer and longer. So tried to start them a little earlier so we could get people out of the stadium a little quicker. But it is 7:30 this week, so a little extra time to get out to the football stadium. And from a Caldwell County standpoint, you'd hope by halftime maybe the Tigers have a big enough lead that the running clock is kicked in and the Tigers can cruise on into that second round next week, which, you know, Caldwell County may get an easier game this week, but if you look ahead, that second round game is going to be LaRue County or Union County. LaRue is 9-1, Union County is 8-2. So I know the Tigers won pretty handily up at Union County, but Caldwell, some things went the Tigers' way early. The Tigers played really well that night too, and that kind of led to the lopsided score. So either one of those teams, I think, will be a big challenge in that second round. And if it's Union County, you know, a lot of times it's tough to play that team a second time in the same season. You know, they kind of figure some things out that first time you play, and it's a little tougher to beat them. We've actually seen that in the past with Union County, where the Tigers handled them during the season, you know, fairly easily, but then it became a battle when the two teams met later in the playoffs.
Right, and you know, I just don't like seeing those teams a second time, and you know, but this LaRue County team is pretty capable as well. So that next opponent will pose a challenge for the Tigers. They will have to play well, they'll have to execute, and they will have to be on top of their game to advance.
And that'll be an interesting matchup. If it's LaRue County, that's Jaggers versus Jaggers right there. That's Josh, who is the head coach at LaRue, and Joby, the quarterback at Caldwell County, and a lot of family connections going on there. So, you know, there's still a lot of Jaggers family in this area. So
a lot of people licking their chops for that.
Yeah, that'll be a big game.
That'll be a huge
Not
game.
only that, but probably if it comes to that, when you look at Caldwell County being 9-2 if they get the win this week, LaRue being 10-1, that's probably one of the bigger Class 3A playoff games in the state next week if that comes to pass.
We need to break out the Family Feud music, you know?
Yeah, we'll get that going for
So they said a little Richard Dawson going on, you know, if we get that matchup. But you know, just looking at the Times leader here, Todd, fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
But let's look here. You know, you're talking about the ratings. Lichtenhouse, Caldwell County, 96.6, and Hart County at 49.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's they're not rated very high. I think they have played better later in the season, but you go back and their two wins over Caverna, which was a lopsided win for Hart County, but Caverna is 0-10. The other one was over Adair County. I think they finished the season 1-9. So not a whole lot to go on. For whatever reason, Adair and Hart have had some pretty good teams in recent years. I thought Adair County, you know, came down here and just played a great game last season.
They did.
But I think a lot of those kids graduated. They had a lot of seniors. I think Hart County probably had a lot of seniors. If you look at this year's Hart County team, it looks to me like there's a lot of underclassmen on there. So I know I went back and actually watched their season preview from WBKO TV in
Yeah,
Bowling Green.
Yeah.
And I know they were excited going into this season because they thought, they had laid the groundwork last year to have a really good season. It didn't quite turn out that way, but maybe they're just a season away, and it looks like they've at least played better the last few weeks, and they're at least headed in the right direction right now.
No doubt. Well, it ought to be the weather's going to be a little bit better. We've got a chance of some showers, for pretty much most of the week. But it looks like, at least with the forecast now, is those showers should probably get out of the way for
that would be great.
Game time. It might be a little wet beforehand, maybe not raining the same, but a little bit warmer than last week got downright cold.
It was cold, but the rain quit right about kickoff, so it really wasn't that bad a night to be out there for a football game.
No, it was great.
The field was a little sloppy.
Yeah.
I think that hurt the Tigers a little bit.
Yep.
I think Mayfield being really, really good hurt the Tigers more than that. I thought Mayfield was the best team Caldwell County has played this year. I think Mayfield would give Christian County fits, and I thought up until this point Christian County was the best team the Tigers have played. But again, I think that's a good game. I think the Tigers missed some opportunities early. They got the early fumble recovery and had good field position and couldn't get points. And then after Mayfield scored, the Tigers had a big kickoff return and got the ball down to the goal line. And some people thought maybe Jameer Riley was in. Some say he fumbled. The Tigers actually claim to have recovered that fumble, so I'm not really sure.
Touchback. It
ended up being a touchback, and it went the other way. So those things are big momentum swings, especially when you're playing somebody that good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're playing a Mayfield and, they're ranked second or third in their class, and they're probably going to just roll through the first 3 weeks of the playoffs until they get to the state semifinals in Class 2A. So you need those things to go your way, and you have to take advantage of it. Once the Tigers missed those opportunities and Mayfield got up a little bit, it kind of snowballed on the Tigers, ended up being 55-14. I don't think there's that much of a gap between the two teams. But Mayfield really is that good this year. They have more speed overall than any Mayfield team I've seen. I think they're quicker than Christian County, and that was just a bad matchup overall for the Tigers. Even going into that game, it was a bad matchup.
And those four, they had at least four. The quarterback was hitting those receivers in stride, right down the middle. They had at least four of those, and they exploited our defense somehow. They had those, and that's hard to recover from because they just. Obviously, they saw something there, and they exploited it. But the interesting thing you said, we talked about Christian County. They were on the ropes at Paducah-Tillman for a while. They came back and won. But I tell you, that Paducah team has kind of been my dark horse kind of sleeper in the district, and I think they're going to give people fits.
Well, Christian County actually finished the regular season 10-0, so nobody's gotten them. But Tillman was up on them 10-0 going to the fourth quarter. I think they fumbled and gave up a touchdown, and then fumbled the ensuing kickoff, and that led to another touchdown. So Tillman's kind of been its own worst enemy a lot of times this season.
That's right.
It took all the Tigers had out here that night to beat them 24-21, a little hook and ladder play and, some timely turnovers. But Tillman is probably the most physical team that we've seen all season. I'm not even sure it's close to anybody else. I'm not sure there's a number two right now, if maybe Mayfield. But Tillman was just so physical. And
they'll bang you around.
They've got Edmondson County this week. I think they'll win that game. Trigg County's at Elizabethtown this week. That's a whole lot to ask out of Trigg County. E-Town's one of the top-rated teams in the state, the top-rated team in the region. But if it gets to that second round and you see Tillman and E-Town,
could be interesting.
That could be an interesting matchup because Tillman is just good enough, and the style of play that they employ, they could go up there and if they don't turn the ball over, maintain control of the ball, keep out of E-Town's hands. If Tillman gets up early, that could be a game where E-Town could have its hands full.
Exactly. It ought to be interesting, and it's always fun. But we do know this. We've got a second season about to get underway, and it's play, survive, and live for another day.
Oh yeah. Well, I love that Mayfield game. To me, it's kind of a bowl game at the end of the season.
No doubt.
It's like you have your first part of the season, then you have your district season. Then you have that bowl game, and I know some people don't like the Mayfield game because, it's lopsided on the series. Mayfield wins it more times than they don't, but I like having it there. To me, it's just not that big a deal as far as the win or the loss.
Exactly.
You don't want to get anybody hurt during that game, and, a couple of years ago, Tess Sibbles
got
hurt during that game, and that really hurt in the playoffs, but Aside from that, if you're going to be a really good football program, you have to play people like that. I've mentioned it before that Caldwell County kind of emulates Mayfield. You know, that's where the Tigers are trying to get their program to. And if you don't play Mayfield and get a look at it and get a look at their team and the way their fans, follow them and the way they carry themselves, it's kind of hard to emulate that team. So I think the Tigers need that game, and it really shows you what you need to work on. And sometimes one of the most interesting things that can happen out of a loss is you come out and you work a little harder the next week. There's a lot of motivation in a loss sometimes, and hopefully when the Tigers come up short in that Mayfield game, they can take that to heart. And I remember going to Mayfield one year and the Tigers just basically laying an egg down there, getting beat 48-7, and the game just wasn't even that competitive. That Tiger team played for the state championship a few weeks later.
Right.
So, you can talk about momentum all you want, but, to me it's about coming out and executing each game. And like I say, if you can get something out of the Mayfield game to maybe encourage you a little bit. I was encouraged by the way the Tigers ran the football the other night. It didn't always pay off in points, but I think later on we'll see that run game maybe have an effect in the playoffs.
Jameer had a great game.
Oh, absolutely.
He ran for 160 yards.
And he ran hard.
Ran hard, yeah. There were a lot of positives coming out of that game, believe it or not. If you're really looking and breaking down the game, there was some positive there. Yeah, I mean, it's no fun to get, the score was probably more lopsided than actually what happened on the field because of those turnovers and some of the calls that we got. But we're a better team than what it was on display there Friday night. And
you don't like seeing 55-14 on the scoreboard, but the Tigers easily could have scored 2 or 3 more times. They actually had a chance there in the second half to try to get back in the game, at least make it interesting, and just couldn't punch it in. But again, I don't know that was so much Caldwell mistakes as it was Mayfield is just that good. If it's possible, I think this year's Mayfield team is underrated as far as Mayfield teams go. So we'll see what kind of run they make in the playoffs.
When Coach Clayton was here on Gator and DT, he said it's probably one of the best Mayfield teams he had seen in quite some time.
That's what I thought.
And so, you hear that and you're like, uh-oh.
Well, they were
they're
better
good anyway.
They were better than I thought they would be. From just reading about them and trying to watch a little game tape of them. When you see them on Friday night on the football field, it was a different team. And even the Mayfield people were saying that was one of the best games they've played all year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, between the two, when that happens, it's probably going to be a rough night for Caldwell County. But, again, that's fine. I think if we went back to the first of the season and I said, Ty, the football team can be 8-2 this year going into the playoffs and the number 1 seed for the playoffs, will you take that? And you would have jumped on it.
Yeah, you would have jumped on it, and that's where we are. And
absolutely.
And so wish those guys luck. It ought to be great Friday night. We encourage everybody to go out. I mean, it's playoffs have a different atmosphere, and it's going to be a good night out there. And we encourage all our fans to head on out. Put on your blue and gold and cheer those guys on. And of course, on Gator and DT tomorrow, we're going to hear more. I think they've got some senior guys coming in tomorrow to talk more about their season. I'm sure. If we can get them to talk, which I think most of those guys will talk, kind of retrospect on the season and then where they're heading. And so ought to be a good show tomorrow with those guys as well.
Again, kickoff at 7:30 at Tiger Stadium. Caldwell County and Hart County, first round of the playoffs, and they'll be ready to go.
So, it ought to be fantastic. And, of course, you can hear it all right here on 103.3 FM, 1580 AM, and we're going to stream it online at WPKYonline.com if you can't attend. So.
And speaking of football, Junior Pro action. The Jamboree gets underway tonight over at Webster County High School in Dixon. There's a Caldwell matchup in one of those games, Caldwell Gold and Caldwell White, I believe in the 5th and 6th grade.
Yep.
And then looking ahead to Saturday, there's a good chance there'll be a Caldwell Gold and Caldwell White game in the 3rd and 4th grade bracket. So big season-ending Jamboree for the young guys, and that's where it starts. You've got to have good youth programs, and you've got to have a good middle school program to ever think about having a good high school program. And, again, that's where it all starts. And those guys put a lot of time and effort into the coaches and the players and the parents, and that's a big deal for that. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those jamborees or not, but
my kid played, and
there's a lot of people.
It is, and it's festive, it's fun, and it is competitive.
Yes.
I mean, it's the real deal. And of course, it's at Webster County this year. So.
It is at Webster.
Yeah. So and I know at times we used to kind of circulate it around back in the day, and I guess they still do it that way. So Webster County, and that gets underway tonight.
2 games tonight because there are 7 teams in each age group, so they had to play that extra game. Tonight's kind of the play-in game.
Play-in game, yeah.
So the rest of the tournament, I believe they start at 8 o'clock Saturday morning, go all the way through Saturday evening, and then the 2 championship games are Sunday afternoon at Webster County, the one game at 2 o'clock and one game at 4 o'clock. So, again, the young guys, and I think maybe we'll see a Caldwell team in at least one of those championships, and who knows, you put a little run together, maybe see a couple of them in those championships.
We just might. So wish those guys luck up at the Jamboree this weekend at Webster County, and bring it home. So,
absolutely.
All right. Are we ready to take a break, or you want to talk some more?
Let's talk about the World Series real quick.
Yeah, we got to. Oh man, what are we?
I don't want to miss that.
What a great series, Todd.
Oh, fantastic! 7 games. The Astros. I guess they've put to bed the Sports Illustrated jinx, because it was a couple of years ago that SI ran the cover that said Astros World Series champions 2017, and by golly, here we are.
Yeah, two big Goliaths of baseball, but really probably the best teams in each league meeting in the World Series, and great pitching, big line, guys that can thump it. And guys that have had great seasons. There's all kinds of little storylines written within both those teams. But, for a fall classic, it's exactly what it was. It was good
it was
baseball,
outstanding.
Good baseball.
Shout out to Carlos Beltran, the former Cardinal. Finally got his ring. He got a World Series ring last night, and that was great to see him get one with the Astros. I wish he would have got one with the Cardinals, obviously. But good for him to finally get that one to hang in there. And I think that kind of leadership on a team. He didn't play a whole lot. Saw a couple of at-bats, I believe, in the series. But bringing in those veterans, they really help in the locker room and really kind of help settle everybody in those big games. And, of course, Carlos has played a lot of big games with the Mets and the Cardinals and those teams, the Yankees. So, good to see a good guy, a good veteran get his ring.
Yeah, and McCann, you can say the same thing with McCann. I'm a Braves guy, but here he is. He did a fantastic job, I think, handling those pitchers. And it put together a pretty good season for the Astros on behind the plate, and you got to give him a shout out as well, because that pitching staff, he had a lot to do with them. So,
but I tweeted last night that I thought the 2 best teams were in the World Series. I think the best team won it. That doesn't always happen, but I think this year, just the way the season played out, those were the 2 best teams, and I just thought the Astros were a little better overall.
Timely hitting. I thought I got to give AJ Finch. I think people will look at the managerial and how they handle the pitching staff and stuff. I think AJ Finch probably pulled the right stops out when he needed to. As far as the staff was concerned, and there's just little things like that really add up to be big, and they're subtle, but they can mean a whole lot in a World Series.
And I think he could also win the Al Leiter look-alike contest.
I kept looking at him and go, who's he look like?
Al Leiter.
But very, 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 very minimal expression. It's amazing. It'd be in the heat, and he's just sitting over there. So cool under pressure, no doubt. AJ Finch.
But that was a big World Series, and sometimes when the Cardinals don't make it, I kind of tune out of the playoffs a little bit, but the Dodgers and the Astros kind of pulled me back in, and that was a fun series.
I love fall baseball, and it's always a fun time of year. I didn't really have a team in it. I was just glad that I think like you said, the 2 best teams from each league were in it, and it could have gone either way. One more game, the Dodgers probably could have. It's just you got to stop at 7. So.
Baseball is weird that way. It's difficult to handicap a baseball game sometimes because. The guy on the mound with the ball in his hand has such a huge influence over how the game plays out. So if one guy comes out and throws a gem that night, it changes everything. But you get down to Game 7, and that's just what it comes down to. And the Astros got some runs early and made them stand up.
Yeah, and you just kept thinking as the game went on last night, Dodgers kept leaving guys on base.
I think they had 8 guys left on base the first 4 innings.
Yeah.
You keep thinking, hey, if somebody pops one here or they put one in the gap, all of a sudden it's 5-2, 5-3, and you've got a lot of innings to go.
Yeah. But it just never did happen for them.
Anyway, I enjoyed it for it to not be the Cardinals.
Exactly.
So come on, Cardinals, get to work. Get to work.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they do in the offseason. All kinds of moves to be made, and it's March will be here before we know it. Pitchers and catchers will
Oh,
report,
yeah.
and then we'll be back at it.
What is it, February 15th?
February 15th,
yeah.
actually, for pitchers and catchers. So, yeah, so right around the corner, basically.
But yeah, I enjoyed that, and I've enjoyed the fall sports, enjoyed everything up to this point, and we've got our guest waiting, so I guess we better.
We'll take a break and we'll bring him in. How about that? We'll take a break. We've got a guest coming in, and not in an incredible suit today, but to give you a little hint of who it might be. So we'll be back in just a minute. You listen to the Sideline Report by the Times leader, Todd Griffin, and special guests coming up. Stay tuned. Here's a reminder from your Princeton Electric Plant Board. Meter tampering is dangerous. Tampering with an electric meter is not only dangerous, it is dishonest and against the law. Stealing electricity by tampering with an electric meter may result in your arrest and can even risk your life. Tampering with meters results in increased utility bills that everyone has to pay. If you see anyone tampering with an electric meter, call the Princeton Electric Plant Board right away at 270-365-2031. Princeton Electric Plant Board, Princeton's #1 energy source.
Howdy, folks. Colonel Sanders from KFC here with some real news. My delicious, world-famous original recipe fried chicken is available at a KFC near you. It has been and will be until the end of time. No matter what's happening in the world, you can trust that my original recipe chicken is always made with 11 herbs and spices. Many unnamed sources agree. It's delicious. Get it in a KFC $10 chicken share and enjoy it with a friend. KFC, it's still finger-licking good. Limited time offer at participating KFCs. Prices may vary. Tax and substitutions extra.
Hello, this is Gloria Smith with the Law Office of Jeff Russo. Are you buying or selling real estate? Are you planning on refinancing your existing home loan? If so, you should be aware that you have your choice in which attorney provides the legal services associated with such transactions. Our law office has over 50 years of experience in real estate law. We pride ourselves on being cost-effective and having a quick turnaround time. If you're in need of such services, call us today at 365-2763 or find us on the web at www.jeffrussolaw.com. We are located in downtown Princeton on the east side of the courthouse.
This is an advertisement.
At Morgan's Funeral Home, we offer safe and secure funeral planning.
What separates us from the rest is how much our people care.
At Morgan's Funeral Home, we're staffed with experienced funeral planners who know and understand the different methods of pre-funding final arrangements. We can help you design a plan that fits your individual needs and suits your wishes and beliefs. Morgan's Funeral Home, serving families for over 100 years.
And we are back on the Sideline Report at 9:26. Todd Griffin in studio, and he has a special guest.
Good morning to Dwight Meeks, who is
Mr. Incredible.
Yes, Mr. Incredible, and member of the Youth Incorporated Board, and our chair for the Baseball Softball Committee, which I am also a member of. So thought we'd talk a little ballpark this morning. A lot of things going on at the ballpark. Dwight, a fall league just finished up. How did that go?
Fall league, this is my first year to really be, working with fall league. And it went over great. We had, I think, 4 teams in 8U, 2 teams in 10U. That's boys and girls. Did we wind up with 2 teams with 8U, Todd?
I think so.
And a couple of teams in 10U.
A lot of kids actually to play, for fall baseball and softball.
And what was really surprising, Craig Lewis said, "Why don't we open this up to T-ball?" And which I thought was, no way we're going to get anybody.
Right.
But we had 4 teams in T-ball fall league. That went over great. It really did. And kids seemed like they had a good time. We're trying to maybe decide whether to stay with that pitching machine or coach pitch. I think we're going to go back with coach pitch, which Todd helped me out. Was that some years ago they done that?
I think years and years ago.
Okay. So they went.
But I think a lot of people are getting away from the pitching machines now and going to coach pitch. And, there's a whole lot of debate on the pitching machines.
Yeah.
Do they help? Do they hurt? I know a lot of people in some of the leagues were trying to actually get the kids to pitch now. And I know sometimes it makes for a slow game, but I'm kind of the opinion that you need those kids to learn how to pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as a youth program that you're out there, you're trying to teach kids to play. And I think they need to learn to throw the baseball, learn to hit it, learn to field it, learn to catch it. I mean, all those things. And to me, that should be the emphasis of the youth program.
Yeah. What I like about coach pitching was the kids are actually seeing the ball come out of your hand.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I told my kids, listen, we're going to throw you 5 balls. If one of them's a strike, you better take it, because in real baseball, you're going to swing at some balls that are not strikes,
Right.
and you're going to have to learn how to hit those balls.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever threw a strike. Matter of fact, Chris King had to come in and be the shout out to electric plant board guys there.
They're shouting out to us.
They aim to do that at the same
Hey, guys.
time.
Somebody does that every week.
Yes.
At least they're listening. We appreciate our
That's
by the
right.
way.
So
they're faithful listeners.
But anyway, it went over great. It really did. We're now kind of just getting stuff ready for next year. Anybody out there has some catching equipment still in your closet or something, holler at us, bring it to us, because we're inventorying our stuff now. We've winterizing the ballpark, as you know, and just getting ready for next year.
Well, the fall league is really a prep league, right, for
That's
next
right.
season.
Yes.
It's not necessarily a competitive, let's go out and beat somebody real bad league. It's
Right.
It's like, let's get all these kids. They're actually playing up a little bit.
They are.
In the age group that they will play next summer.
Yes. We didn't even keep score, and or we would run. Some teams wanted to run the clock because the games were an hour and 25 minutes, so they kept the clock on just to keep up with time. But we didn't really emphasize the score, and
It's kind of like playing, just having a good time.
that's right.
Yeah.
Just some backyard baseball and softball.
It's good stuff.
Well,
So-
that's where you learn, fundamentals and tendencies and those kind of things. Is, I think one thing kids have gotten away from is just going out and playing, whether it's baseball, softball, basketball, or whatever. I think a lot of us, maybe some of us not as athletically gifted as others, but we learn the game by going out and playing.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, the only time you see some kids playing anymore is when there's actually an organized practice or an organized game. And I kind of like the fall league where it is just, hey, we're just all coming together and it's basically a pickup game. And, there's instruction being given by coaches, but there's not a big emphasis on, who wins and what your record is and all those things.
Everybody's biting their nails off.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And I want to say a special thanks to all those coaches, men and women, who were in our summer program and our fall program. It takes those people to help us. If we didn't have coaches, of course, obviously we wouldn't have a league out there. So thank you, men and women, boys and girls, all that helped out there, and look us up again this year, this summer too, if you want to coach.
Our ballpark is really looking fantastic, though.
It's coming
just
along.
Nice. It really is, and kudos to the youth and and everybody who's being a part of that, because it's really becoming a facility to be proud of. Not that it's always it's always been there, and it's ebbed and flowed like everything else. But boy, it's really looking nice out there.
Well, everyone at Youth Incorporated is trying to move everything forward at the ballpark. We've tried to improve the experience for everyone. Of course, you start talking about wins and losses. Not every team can win the league, and not every team can, win more games than they lose, and it can't be the same experience for everyone. But what you want is to provide a fair atmosphere where people can come and play and have fun and compete. And, yes, winning is part of that. That's why there's scoreboards, and, that gets into that age-old debate of, how important is it? Well, to me, it shouldn't be the end-all, but at the same time, the goal of each team is to win the game. The reason you do all those fundamental things, the reason you bunt and sacrifice and move a guy up or in basketball is why you block people out and get rebounds, is because the ultimate goal is to win the game. So that's what you're striving for, but it can't be the only thing you're out there playing for either.
And and we're getting these kids ready for high school baseball and
Right.
softball.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're a feeder program, and we don't want to forget about that.
Yeah.
So, but I thought we really had a good summer, a good fall. Several things we're still working on
Right.
out the ballpark to improve our park. We just put a new roof on the old concession stand the other day. This is where we house our baseball and softball, football, and our
lot of equipment.
shop
Equipment
equipment.
in there,
Yes, a lot. So we added to that. We worked on one of our infields, the old settle field, which is when you go to that park, you see the settle field and the VFW field.
Right.
That's the two oldest fields there. And we've improved our infield, and it should be a whole lot better next year, don't you think?
I think so, yeah. That grass is coming in really nice over there.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to doing our other fields, and
How many active fields we have out there now that are actually?
they
all are. But
everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So,
Yeah.
But with the one in the back, which one? The one that's kind of in the back more.
That would be the Tilly field.
That's the Tilly field. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
It just sort of it's back there and people play on it, but it just
Well,
not that it's overlooked. It's
Right.
not, but you
It's
just,
just
you just don't see it.
Right. That
furthest
field and the Oliver field, I think, are the next two fields that we need to work on the grass a little bit, just because over time it's kind of been, maybe neglected just a little bit because of so many other things that had to be done. And it's not really one of the first things you think of. You walk out there and you think, hey, something's wrong with the fences, so we need to fix the fence, or something's wrong with this, we need to fix that. Sometimes you don't really think, hey, we need a better surface on this field.
Yeah. You say, there's grass there. I want that.
And we do, because just the grass has gotten a little clumpy, and some of the areas get dug out a little bit, and just want to clean it all up and make it, like I said, a really nice experience for everyone who gets to play, and put the best product out there we can for everyone. I remember growing up going to the ballpark, and that was one of my favorite places to be, and it certainly wasn't because I was a great athlete or a great ball player. It just the atmosphere of the place, all your friends were there, and it was a fun place to hang out, and that's kind of what we want it to be again for everyone.
And I think we have that vibe here, and I think it's getting increasing.
It
Especially
is.
as the facility improves and people want to be there. You get something good to eat. Yeah, you can hang out and have a great place to sit down. So yeah, I think we're definitely going in the right direction.
The other night, it's probably about 2 weeks ago, we were playing out there, and all the fields were being taken up, and not only were those games going on, but some kids come up with a wiffle ball bat and a wiffle ball, and we're playing in the old tennis courts.
We used to do it all the time, didn't we, Ty?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so we had a game.
Yeah.
We had a game within those games,
Yeah.
and those kids were having a ball playing wiffle ball right out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've
you
got
know.
a great man. I was an adult. I'm 18 years old. We'd go out there at 1 and 2 in the morning and turn those lights on. I don't know if we get in trouble. Joey Randolph.
Oh, yeah, play wiffle ball on the
play
tennis
wiffle ball on
courts.
those tennis courts, and be out there to
Right.
3, 4 in the morning.
But that's what, to me, that's what the park is there for. It's
Yeah.
there to be used. We don't just want to fix the fields up so we can drive by and they look pretty.
Right.
We want kids to get out there and play. That's the whole point of trying to make the ballpark better, to try to improve the experience for everyone. And I know we don't always all agree on everything that needs to be done, and there's lots of things that we could do if we had the funds to do it. As I've said before, our list of ideas is unending, but our resources are not. So it's
Right.
it's a little difficult sometimes, but a lot of people have worked really hard on it. I think they've got the financial situation at least under control now, a lot better than it used to be. It was in dire straits there for a little while, and just a lot of people have put a lot of time and effort into that place. And I like to say, when you drive by now and look at it, and especially when there's a big crowd out there, it really looks nice,
It
and
does.
it's a great asset to the community, I think.
No doubt about it. And thanks again to the everybody that's contributed to that, because I think there was a reinvigorated effort to make this happen and to put it in the right, back on the right track. And again, several folks responsible for that, and the board and everything else. But it's going in the right direction, no doubt about it.
That's what I've said forever, that we're all on the same team, whether it's Youth Incorporated or the high school or whoever. We all need that ballpark.
Yeah.
We all want to produce players for the high school team to make the high school team better, and we've seen that success the last few years. And it all starts with those younger kids. You have to develop those players, and when they start at T-ball, you want them to develop a love for the game and to just keep coming back and keep playing. And that's the goal, is to every year have more people playing and to improve the facility every way we can and just make it better and better.
Oh yeah. And my appetite, I can't wait for this high school baseball season, because we've got a great team.
Yes, we do.
And we're in a great facility, and it just can't get here soon enough for me.
I think you may see that facility change a little bit if everything works out for the better, and the girls' field also for the better. We'll let you know more about that later on, but there's some
things in the works.
Yes, there is, and hopefully it'll all work out. And I think you'll see a better product out there.
Yeah, I'm excited about the way the ballpark is going. Like, you go back 5 or 6 years and try to remember what it was like, and maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, and through nobody's fault, it just kind of happened. I mean, but thankfully some people got back on it, and I'm glad I was able to kind of jump on their bandwagon and try to add what I could to it. And Dwight's done a lot of work on it. Our committee's done a lot of work on it, and I enjoy the league that we're in now during the summer. I think that has added to the program, the CCDL, which, I guess we're looking for a new name for that now since Trigg County's in it too. So it's Caldwell, Crittenden, Dawson Springs, and Lyon County, and
now Trigg is in it.
And now Trigg's in it as well. So to me, that makes it fun because you get to travel around to the communities. Get to play in a different park. To me, that's just a little different.
And a little community pride about it,
That's right.
Yeah.
My grandson this year, he played 8U, and we were going to travel to Lyon County, and that was his big thing. You mean we're going to get to travel? Well, we're going to Lyon County. It's not going to be that long of a drive, but
still,
to him, that was a big deal. Big deal.
And of course, y'all, Youth Incorporated, that you still have basketball signups right now, don't
Yes,
you?
we do.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been mentioning that. I want to make sure
basketball.
you can go to youthincorporated.net to do that.
I think that's right.
Look for the orange button. I think there's an orange button there, and it walks you through it.
You can do that online and sign up, and I think once you're in the system that you're there. So every time sign-ups come around, you can just go in there and sign up.
Right. So
and if you are interested in coaching, please let them know that also.
Basketball?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, they need basketball coaches.
Yes. I'm sure we do. Like anything.
Okay. And when does that season get underway? Do we know exactly the start?
Be pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm saying it's coming up. It's got to be.
I
don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
it's coming up soon.
I'm saying, is it after Christmas?
Yeah, I'm on the baseball and softball committee.
Yeah. I totally took us off on another thing.
But I do think it's after Christmas.
Yeah.
I think that's when they try.
Good deal.
After
Well,
Christmas.
if you're interested in that, do, because all the programs of Youth Incorporated are there for our kids, and we want to encourage you to participate in all of them.
Football is part of that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot. It's a pretty big undertaking for Youth
is.
Incorporated as a nonprofit organization, and most everyone involved is
volunteers. Yeah.
So it's a lot going on, but again, if you want your high school programs to have success, and volleyball, I don't want to leave out volleyball because they do a great job there. And again, you look at our volleyball team year in and year out, one of the best in the region. Our baseball team's 2-time defending region champs. Football program is strong. Soccer teams had great years, and of course, soccer is not part of Youth Incorporated, but they have their youth league too, and that's where those players start. Yeah. So if you don't have good youth programs and that good kind of feeder program all the way up, you're not going to have good high school teams because you're just not going to develop the kids.
That's exactly right. Can't thank you enough, sir. And
thank you for having me.
Great job. Yeah, that's Todd said, "Hey, I got a guest," and I said, "I got to see you."
So, I don't know about a guest.
Anything else we need to jaw on about Youth Inc?
I think some more improvements on the way at the ballpark. The place looks nice. I think one of the biggest things we did was just maybe cleaning up the parking lot a little bit. That really made the place look a whole lot better. And
we do have some other stuff to do to our parking lot, weather permitted. But there are some other changes. We hope when we do meet at our board, sometimes we're there quite a while, and we do come up with a lot of ideas. Not all the ideas are taken care of because you try to take care of the biggest.
You got to prioritize.
Yes, you have to. A lot of things we still would like to do, but like you said, with the money and stuff like that, But if you have any ideas, please tell the board about it. If there's something out there that needs to be fixed or something like that, let us know. Just don't walk past it. Let us know, and we'll try to take care of it.
We'll try to get on it.
We will.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Kudos to the board and everybody that's involved, and congratulations on a successful fall, youth baseball and softball season, and you can't ever hurt.
Right, we hope bigger and better things at the ballpark. Like I said, we have some big ideas, and we might not get to some of those ideas, but at least we're moving in the right direction. And I think every year you can see a little more improvements, and hopefully that will just continue, and we'll make it a better and better place.
Yes,
awesome.
I do.
All right, thanks, Dwight.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. He's Mr. Incredible. I love that.
Among other things.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here.
See you.
All right. Well, Todd, fantastic. You're right in the middle of all of it, and we can't say enough about our Youth Incorporated Sports and the board, and it's good that we have. Again, this is a great little community, and there's a prime example of it.
And like I said, I love our summer league, the CCDL. I mean, it's really an undertaking for that league to bring all the communities together, and there's really not what I would call a commissioner or anybody who's over the entire league. I mean, everyone just kind of shows up with a representative, and we hash things out, and sometimes rules are made that at the time we think are good, and then and when you get on the field and in practice, you decide, hey, that probably wasn't the best thing, so we get together and try to do the best we can there. But like I said, just a lot of people are involved, and it's good to see those people willing to put the time in to do all that so that we can have a good league. And of course, one of the main things I try to do is get everybody's results in the paper. That's always a big undertaking during the summer. And
I mean,
I appreciate all the coaches making sure they get their stuff to me, because with games in 5 different locations now, back in the old days when it was just here, there was a scorebook for each league. So I would go get the scorebook, and it was pretty simple. Well, there's no scorebook now. Everybody's kind of got their own thing, because you're in Princeton one night and in Cadiz the next night, and next week you go to Marion and Dawson, so it's kind of
hard to gather all that.
It's tough to keep all that together, but everyone is pretty good about texting me their scores or emailing or whatever, so that we can get all that in the paper.
Yes,
and we get it in all the papers in the area. It not only runs in our paper, it runs in the Edible paper, the Crittenden Press, the Dawson Springs Progress, the Cadiz paper.
That's pretty
I
impressive.
think that's everybody. So it's good to see that in there every Wednesday, that everybody can go to their local paper and get all the youth results and standings.
It surely is. So that's a huge undertaking. I mean, a lot of stuff. I mean, you can get overwhelmed with all that.
Oh,
so
there's a bunch of things to keep up with, but like I said, we want it to look good, and we want it to reflect on our community and the other communities that, hey, we've got this league. It's a really good thing. We want to keep it going, and we want to try to be bigger and better every year.
No doubt.
Get more kids involved in the program, and hopefully, get more parents involved, more people who want to coach.
Yeah, and because that can be a struggle, I know, to find those coaches.
Oh,
that number one, that have just a desire to do it, but can coach as well.
Right. A lot of time and effort goes into coaching, and if you've ever done it,
I've done it.
You don't realize until you get involved just how much time and effort. But yeah, I think it's a really rewarding experience, and I'm really thankful that we have so many people that are willing to step up. Some people coaching more than one team, which I can't even imagine, but God bless those people.
Definitely, no doubt about it. Do you want to take another break? And
let's take a break.
And we'll take another break, and we will come back. Let me see if I can find this. I think it's number this one. I'm going to play our little promo here. Yeah, we'll do that one and see what pops up, and we will come back. You're listening to the Sideline Report here on your hometown radio station. Todd Griffin in the house, and we'll be back to talk more sports coming up on WPKY The Tiger.
Tune in Saturdays at 9 a.m. for the Saturday Morning Quarterback here on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. Bob Hayes will talk to the coaching staff about Friday night's game. Hear analysis and what might be upcoming for the Caldwell County Tiger football team on the Saturday Morning Quarterback. They'll break down Friday night's game, get you all the information that you need to know, and look forward to the next contest the following Friday. It's the Saturday Morning Quarterback with Bob Hayes here on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger.
The 2018s are here. All 2017s have to go. Every brand we carry, every Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram truck has been marked down. 0% financing for 72 months or up to $10,000 off some models. Come by, try shoes, or call 270-365-5522. You can also shop at tryshoes.com. Why haven't you given Trice a try? It's easy. Call today, 270-365-5522, or stop by for a great deal today. Give Trice a try.
And we are back on the Sideline Report with Todd Griffin, Ty Englebright, and Todd, we've got a few more minutes here and lots more to talk about.
Well, we talked about the fall sports wrapping up, and, of course, everything pretty much has except for football now. But, the sports season never really stops anymore.
No.
Basketball is right on top of us. As a matter of fact, we're taking Caldwell County pictures on Monday. So,
okay.
So you just go straight into the basketball season. If you picked up a paper this week at the top of the sports section.
Yes, indeed.
Big story on the West Kentucky Hoops Classic. There it is. which is coming December 28th and 29th. And again, I can't emphasize enough how big this is, having something like this in Caldwell County. I mean, in the past we've had different tournaments or whatnot, but this is such a huge event. We're calling it the West Kentucky Hoops Classic this year, the former Caldwell County Hoops Classic, and just some awesome teams lined up to come here and play. There's 8 boys teams and 4 girls teams. It's 14 games over those 2 days, December 28th and 29th. Aspire Academy from Louisville is coming. That I think Aspire.
You said they're the real deal.
They're the real deal. I think they're going to be one of the better, one of those prep teams that come into this place and maybe forever.
Put on a show.
They've got there's a 7-foot kid that I think recently committed to LIU Brooklyn. There's a 6'11" power forward, Charles Bassey, who is arguably the #1 guy in the 2019 class. Aspire Academy was in Arizona before. It moved to Louisville this year.
Yeah, I was reading here.
Those kids actually go to school at DeSales High School in Louisville.
I was seeing, yeah.
The basketball academy is just that. It's
just a basketball
academy. The kid from Hopkinsville, Jalen Johnson, is there, the guy that was going to be the quarterback this year that we didn't get to see during the regular season of football.
Yes.
He went to Aspire Academy, and, of course, they lined up Aspire for this event back in February, and since that time, all these kids, the Bassey kid was one of the top players in Texas. He found his way to Aspire Academy. Again, he's already got offers from Kansas, UCLA, Baylor, Texas A&M. I think Western Kentucky is in on him because Stansbury was an assistant at Texas A&M when this kid was down there, so there's probably a relationship there. I know there's interest from both UK and U of L. I don't know if either one of them, I don't think they've offered him yet, but he's either 6'10" or 6'11". I think the Aspire Academy roster put him at 6'11", 220. Kids from Nigeria originally and came over to this country, put him on a basketball court. He was a big, tall kid and made a basketball player out of him. And
seems like they do that.
So this is going to be a huge team. I think they can go 7 foot, 6'11", 6'10", 6'10" across the front. Just an incredible amount of talent on that team. So that's going to be a team that's going to be fun to just come out and watch and just see what all they can do. St. Louis Christian, another one of those kind of schools, is coming. Westridge Academy out of North Carolina, another one of those type of schools. So you've got those, and you've got, of course, Caldwell's going to play 2 games in it. Memphis Ridgeway, who's got a really nice point guard. Christian County, always with a really good team. They'll be over here again this year. Dyersburg, Tennessee will be here for the first time. And Corinth, Mississippi, who played in it last year along with Christian County. And Tata Strickland is the big guard for Corinth. And he recently committed to Morehead State, so he's going to play his college basketball in the Bluegrass State.
Right here in Kentucky.
So just a ton of kids. It's, when I was trying to do a little research for the story, there's almost so many highly recruited kids coming that it was tough to even begin to fit them all in the story. So that's how strong the field is this year for the Hoops Classic.
Yeah, and it keeps getting stronger and stronger, and this event keeps getting bigger and bigger. And kudos, I know Tori's involved.
Right, Tori Hammett.
Tori Hammett's involved. Good insight, in several folks into getting and coordinating and getting this all together. Tori's been on. I hope to have him on. Of course, before this event. Of course, it's the latter part of December. But the fun thing too about this is. It's right after Christmas. Everybody's still in the holiday spirit. School's still out, and so it's a fun full day of basketball that you can take your family out to, and really it showcases some incredible basketball talent. And everybody's, you're getting over Christmas, and it's just a fun thing to have here in town. And not only to say what it does economically for our town, just the impact that it has. So great event.
Well, and they make money for the high school basketball program. Money goes into the high school athletic budget. And, I pushed for years for them to start another tournament here because back in the day, we had different tournaments.
Yeah, we had
they weren't real big tournaments, but the thing is, your team's got at least a couple of home games out of them. And, the thing here, Caldwell's guys are going to play twice. Caldwell's girls are going to play 3 times over this 2-day period. So, to me, that's big. I remember a few years back when I looked at the Caldwell boys basketball schedule, there were 8 home games for the entire season. You know, you can play 24, 25 games, and they only had 8 home games. I think the girls this year, I counted up 12, 13 home games this year. The guys are right behind that. So it's good because before you'd have teams going all over the place. You know, typically they'd play a holiday tournament before Christmas and then one after Christmas. So you'd have a team in Owensboro and one in Bowling Green and one in Louisville or wherever. And I think it's fun to actually have something here that people could come out to, and not just to support the local teams, but also to see these incredible basketball teams that have been put together. And, you know, Aspire Academy is in that league with all those other schools that they don't play in state associations. I think it's called the Grind Session with all those big prep academies.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to hold their own with the players they've got. And, you know, it was big getting the Bassey kid here because I think Kentucky and Louisville will both be after him. One of the guy that coaches this Aspire Academy is a former grad assistant under Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
So when you look and see, hey, it moved to Louisville, and this guy has connections to Rick Pitino, you're like, hey, maybe that was how they were going to bring some kids in and maybe get a good look at some of those guys to come to Louisville.
And no doubt there'll be people here looking at these kids playing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, you'll have guys in the stands eyeballing kids and watching. And you never know what they might see in one of our kids or somebody. You just never know. And if you're interested in our boys and girls schedules, they're in the back side of the sports page.
Yeah,
this
both
week.
basketball teams.
Both basketball teams. So that's always handy to have. And good, strong, good, solid schedules for both the boys and girls this year. And, of course, your preview will be coming out here. And just like you say, you're starting to take pictures. It'll be out in a couple weeks. So
the Caldwell County preview always comes out the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which this year is the Saturday, November 25th. And we'll have the Lyon County preview. The plan for that is Wednesday, November 22nd. So, yeah, basketball season is right on top of us. Like I said, we're taking pictures Monday the 6th of both basketball teams and the cheerleaders to run in those preview sections. The boys have a home scrimmage on November 14th against Ballard Memorial. So, yeah, I mean, the basketball season is
2 weeks.
basically here.
Yeah,
so.
it is. And so, you know, it's going to be a fun year, and we encourage this West Kentucky Hoops Classic. Again, we can't say enough about, you know, the two really big days of great basketball out here at the Cab.
I really enjoyed it last year, and, you know, the big games were the team out of Indiana, Castle, came down and played Christian County. That was a great game. This Corinth, Mississippi team was really good, and like I said, they're coming back, and the Strickland kid is one of the top recruits in this thing. All of these teams have guys who are going to be names and faces that you see on TV in the very near future.
Yeah.
Like I said, this Bassey kid, some people have him as the #1 recruit for 2019. Some of the other ones have him second or third, but, you know, anywhere, guys 6'11", 220, 225 in the class of 2019, that's going to be a guy that, you know, come out and see.
Yeah. You're going to see him on CBS and wherever else at some point, you know, playing major college basketball.
Like, so when you look at the list of offers that some of these guys have, and you start looking at Kansas and UCLA and those kind of teams, Oklahoma and
Duke.
And again, Kentucky and Louisville are in on a lot of these guys too. They might not have offered them yet because, you know, with Kentucky always bringing those kids in, I don't know if they ever know exactly where they are in the recruiting process that far down the line. I'm sure they have an idea in their head who they want, but I would think, especially with the kid playing in Louisville now, that'll be something that both U of L and UK jump on pretty big.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, of course, this being a holiday, kind of a post-holiday deal, you know, it's December 28th and 29th. That's a Thursday and Friday. So it's neat to have basketball during the week.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
You know, it's just
and
something
again,
neat about having it's just
a big home tournament kind of feel going on. And
you know, it's just
some of the biggest
exciting.
crowds we saw last year were for this event. So, and then it's going to end up the last day with Caldwell and Christian playing that last game. So it's going to be fun to have all those games. And like I said, it's a busy 2 days, especially for me last year. I tried to keep everybody updated with tweets and whatnot, but it's just fun. I mean,
just kick back and get into it. Get festive with it.
There's 2 Caldwell boys games and 3 Caldwell girls games, so there's always a Caldwell County game if they're not playing that's just right around the corner. So it's just a good time to come out and have fun at the old gym.
Yes, indeed, and that'll be here before we know it. It surely will. We are coming up on the 10 o'clock hour, Todd. I mean, these hours seem to go pretty quick.
Just a couple other things I'd like to throw out. Ty Ramey has signed to play baseball at Frontier College in Fairfield, Illinois. So congratulations to him. Anytime anybody signs anywhere, it's a big deal.
When is his? I've got one down. They're coming up, aren't they? Their signing ceremonies.
Ty actually, I think, has already had his up at Frontier College. Next Wednesday, Shane Burns will be signing at the Fine Arts Center here at Caldwell County, and that's next Wednesday at 3:15 p.m. Right. He'll be going to Murray State, and he'll be pitching for the Racers.
Yeah.
And
congratulations to both those guys.
Next Thursday at Lyon County at the District Conference Center, Cullen Brown will be officially signing with the University of Kentucky to play golf at UK. So that's at 2:30 next Thursday. So some big signings coming up, and congratulations to all those people for having the chance to go on and play some college ball.
No doubt about it. Congratulations to those guys, and I think tomorrow on on Gator and DT as well. Some of those guys are going to be in here talking about their signings. Yeah, so looking forward to that. We want you to tune in to Gator and DT. DT actually texted me a second ago, Todd, and said that he and Gator cannot compete with us and our box head knowledge.
Oh, wow.
What is box head knowledge?
At least he didn't call us Cliff Clavin.
No, we've been called Cliff Clavin, but we're box head. We got box head knowledge.
Wow.
So
I'm taking that as a compliment.
I am too. I mean, box head knowledge. You definitely have it. I can't conclude myself in the box head knowledge. So
the secret is notes. Come in with notes.
I guess that's what it is. little cheat sheets. But no, you got. You were just reeling off that stuff about the tournament and those players off the top of your head. You had no notes there, and I was impressed.
Well, some of them, like I said, I did a little research, and it's just amazing how many players are going to be here. You don't have to go to any place else to see them. Just go out to the Cab Gym and check out all these players.
Boxhead Dwight. There we go. Now I'm putting it together. Dwight's nickname. That's a boxhead. Okay, good. We're not boxhead. Did you hear that, Dwight? that. Oh, boy. We're deteriorating now, but that's right. He said that's Dwight's nickname. I forgot about that.
But, again, big weekend football. The junior pro stuff tonight starting. High school football playoffs Friday night, 7:30 at Tiger Stadium. Congratulations to the Astros. You know, it kind of pains me anytime I have to say congratulations to anybody but the Cardinals, but I thought the Astros were the best team, and they deserved to win the World Series.
They were.
Kudos to them.
Yeah, timely hitting, better pitching. I think, just made good decisions throughout the series. So.
All right, good deal.
That's going to do it. Can you believe it? Another hour down. It's the Sideline Report. We're going to encourage you to check out the Times Leader Sports section. Check it out on Saturdays because you can get a great wrap-up of the game. And then you can tune in to the Saturday Morning Quarterback with Bob and Coach Barnes. They'll put a little bit different perspective on there. Also, on Friday nights, right before the game, Todd will come on and do a Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And he and
Chris George.
And
we
Gary.
Always get that. Gary Goodacre.
Yeah. And then they do a post-game, a halftime, and a post-game as well, so check those out.
We didn't do one last week because the weather was so bad and Chris was really cold. He went to the car to warm up at halftime, so, it was...
Well, you get him a hot cocoa.
Yeah. Chris doesn't like the cold.
But we'll try to keep you informed. Todd does a fantastic job. Of course, check out, geez, if I can talk here. Check out the Times Leader on Saturday for a wrap-up of the game against Saturday Morning Quarterback. And then, of course, the Wednesday edition of the Times Leader Sports page is awesome as well.
Yeah, we've got the schedule for the West Kentucky Hoops Classic in there, schedules for Caldwell County boys and girls basketball, a little preview of the football game coming up with Hart County. So I hope there's lots to read in there for everyone.
There is, and good luck to our Tigers this Friday night. First playoff game against Hart County. Everybody get on out there and cheer on our Tigers. 7:30 kickoff Friday night. That's a half hour later than during the regular season. And we'll be on the air with our coaches show, the Coach Barnes Show at 6:30, followed by our pregame at 7. And Dennis Stevens and Bob Hayes with the call here on 103.3 FM at 15:08 a.m. and online at WPKY.
And the best thing about the playoffs this year, they're all at Tiger Stadium.
That's right.
Until we get to the championship game, and then we go to the field in Lexington.
Yeah, whatever they call it.
Whatever
right?
they call it.
Whatever they call it this week.
The big grocery bag.
The big grocery bag. I love that one. Todd, thanks, man. Another great show.
Thanks, Ty.
And I'll see you next week. Appreciate you being
here. I'll be here.
All right, let's go Tigers, and that's going to wrap up this edition of the Sideline Report at 10 minutes past the hour, 3 o'clock. Stick around.